Executive Order 14,223, addressing the threat to national security from imports of timber, lumber, and their derivative products. March 6, 2025. Section 1. Policy. This executive order focuses on protecting the U.S. timber and lumber industry from foreign competition and predatory trade practices, ensuring a secure domestic supply chain for national security and economic stability. Key justifications for action: timber and lumber as critical industries. The wood products industry, including timber, lumber, paper, furniture, and cabinetry, is essential to national security, economic strength, and industrial resilience. These materials are vital to the construction sector, which supports both civilian infrastructure and military projects. U.S. dependency on imports despite domestic capacity. The U.S. has ample timber resources and a domestic softwood lumber production capacity that could supply 95% of national demand. However, since 2016, the U.S. has been a net importer of lumber, relying heavily on foreign sources. Military and defense needs. The U.S. military spends over $10 billion annually on construction, which depends on a strong domestic lumber industry. The military also invests in new building technologies, such as cross-laminated timber, increasing the need for domestic supply stability. Unfair foreign trade practices. Foreign governments subsidize their timber and lumber industries, allowing cheap imports to flood the U.S. market, undercutting domestic producers. These subsidies and predatory trade practices necessitate action under Section 232 of the Trade Expansion Act to assess whether such imports threaten U.S. national security. Section 2. Investigation into national security impact. The Secretary of Commerce is directed to initiate an investigation under Section 232 of the Trade Expansion Act, 19 U.S.C. 1862, to evaluate the impact of timber, lumber, and derivative product imports on national security. Key factors to be assessed: U.S. timber and lumber demand, current and future demand projections for timber and lumber, domestic production capability, the ability of U.S. suppliers to meet demand without foreign imports. Foreign supply chain dependency. The role of major exporting nations in supplying timber and lumber to the U.S. risks associated with foreign-dominated supply chains. Foreign trade practices and economic impact. Foreign subsidies and predatory pricing strategies impacting U.S. timber and lumber industries. Feasibility of expanding U.S. domestic capacity. Evaluating if the U.S. can increase domestic timber and lumber production to reduce dependency on imports. Impact of current trade policies. Reviewing whether existing trade policies protect U.S. producers. Determining if tariffs, quotas, or other measures are needed to secure the domestic industry. Section 3. Required actions. Collaboration with other agencies. The Secretary of Commerce must consult with the Secretary of Defense to assess military needs, other relevant executive agencies to evaluate national security risks. Comprehensive report to the President. Within 270 days, the Commerce Secretary must submit a report to the President with findings on whether timber and lumber imports pose a national security threat, recommended actions, e.g., tariffs, export controls, production incentives, policy proposals to strengthen the U.S. timber and lumber supply chain, including strategic investments, permitting reforms to encourage more domestic timber harvesting and processing. Section 4. Definitions. Timber, unprocessed wood. Lumber, wood that has been processed, including milled boards and planks. Overall summary. This executive order directs the Commerce Department to investigate the national security risks associated with timber, lumber, and derivative product imports. It highlights concerns over foreign subsidies, unfair trade practices, and U.S. dependency on imported wood products, despite abundant domestic resources. Key takeaways. U.S. timber and lumber industry is vital to national security, essential for construction in both civilian and military sectors. Military spending on construction exceeds $10 billion annually. Dependence on foreign imports is a growing concern. Since 2016, the U.S. has been a net importer of lumber. Foreign competitors engage in unfair trade practices, threatening U.S. manufacturers. Commerce Department must investigate trade threats. The Secretary of Commerce must assess national security risks of imported wood products. The investigation will consider tariffs, export controls, and incentives to boost U.S. production. Potential policy actions to strengthen domestic timber industry. Increasing U.S. timber production to reduce reliance on foreign supply chains. Reforming permitting processes to expand domestic logging and lumber processing. Implementing protective trade measures, e.g., tariffs or quotas, if necessary. This executive order marks a strong shift towards economic protectionism in the wood products industry, emphasizing national security, self-reliance, and the economic well-being of the domestic lumber sector. Subscribe for more!